My name is David. I'm 48 years old. I've lived most of my life in Ohio, working as a mechanic. I fix cars. Engines, transmissions, brakes. You name it, I can take it apart and put it back together. I'm not a rich man, but I've always been proud of what I built with my own two hands. I've been married to my wife, Laura, for 22 years. And for most of that time, I thought we had a steady marriage. Not perfect, but good. We had dinners together. We laughed. We went on trips when we could. I thought loyalty and time were enough to hold us strong. And then there was Chris. My best friend since high school. The guy I grew up with. We played football together. We worked our first summer job together. He was the best man at my wedding. He was the kind of friend you trust with your life. But sometimes, trust becomes the very knife that stabs you. It all started with little things. Laura began talking about Chris more than usual. She'd mention how funny he was, how smart he sounded when giving advice. I didn't think much of it at first. He was my best friend. Why wouldn't she like him? But then, I started noticing the looks. The way her eyes lingered when he came over. The way they shared jokes I didn't get. Inside jokes. And when I walked into the room, the conversation would stop. They'd both smile, too quickly, as if nothing had been said. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. Paranoia. Maybe I was working too many late nights at the shop, maybe I was tired. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The night that changed everything was during a family barbecue. Summer evening. Kids playing in the yard. Music on the radio. Burgers sizzling on the grill. Chris came over, like always. Brought a six-pack of beer. Laughed, joked, like the same old buddy I'd always known. At one point, I went inside to grab more plates. And that's when I heard it. A voice. Laura's voice. Soft. Playful. And Chris's voice, low, just inches from hers. I froze in the kitchen. The sound came from the hallway. They thought I was outside. But I was right there. I moved quietly. Step by step. My boots silent on the tile floor. And when I turned the corner, I saw them. Chris's hand was on her waist. Her face tilted up to his. Their lips only inches apart. For a split second, time stopped. My wife. My best friend. Together. And I knew, if I had walked in 2 seconds later, their lips would have met. I cleared my throat. Loud. Deliberate. They jumped apart. Faces red. Nervous laughter. Oh hey, Dave, Chris said, too quickly. We were just joking around. Joking? Is that what betrayal looks like? A hand on her hip. Eyes locked. A whisper in the dark? I didn't call them out. Not then. I simply stared. Long cold. And then I walked past them, carrying the plates back outside. The rest of the evening felt like a blur. I smiled. I flipped burgers. I laughed at jokes. But inside, a storm was raging. Later that night, after everyone left, Laura tried to act normal. She asked if I wanted dessert. I said no. She asked if I was tired. I said yes. And when she went to bed, I sat alone in the living room. Silent. Still. That image of them together burned in my mind. The way Chris looked at her. The way she leaned into him. I knew right then, this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This was the beginning of something. And if I didn't act, it would destroy me. So, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them yet. No shouting. No begging. That's not who I am. Instead, I was going to watch. I was going to wait. And I was going to catch them. Because when I finally exposed them, I wanted it to be undeniable. No excuses. No way out. Over the next few weeks, I paid attention like never before. When Chris came over, I watched the way Laura's face lit up. When she texted late at night, I checked her reflection in the window. I saw his name flash on the screen. When she said she was running errands, her car wasn't at the grocery store. It was parked near his apartment. Every detail went into my mental notebook. Every clue. Every slip. And with each one, my anger turned colder. Harder. Like steel being forged. One night, I finally got the proof I needed. Laura was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, she kept it locked. But that night, it was open. A message from Chris lit up the screen. Last night was perfect. Can't wait for the next time. My stomach dropped. My hands shook. But not with sadness. With clarity. Finally, the truth. I scrolled through. Dozens of messages. Weeks of lies. Plans to meet. Little phrases that made me sick. Miss you already. You make me feel alive. He'll never know. But I did know. I knew everything. I took photos of every message. Every word. Evidence that could shatter them both. When Laura came out of the shower, I acted normal. Smiled. Kissed her on the cheek. She never suspected a thing. But inside, I was done. The man who trusted. The man who forgave. That man was gone. From that night on, I was planning. Step by step. Quiet. Patient. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Because this wasn't just about betrayal. This was about justice. And when I finally made my move, neither Laura nor Chris would ever forget it. After reading those messages on Laura's phone, I knew the truth. There was no more doubt. No excuses left. My wife was betraying me. And my so-called best friend was the man she chose. But instead of exploding, instead of confronting them, I became colder. I knew one thing: if I wanted this to end on my terms, I had to be smart. No shouting. No begging. Just patience. So I started building my case. The first step was technology. I ordered a small camera online. The kind that looks like a regular charger. Harmless. Ordinary. I plugged it into the wall near the living room couch. Another in the hallway by the front door. And one more in the garage. Days passed. Nothing at first. But then, one Saturday afternoon, I had proof. Laura told me she was going shopping with a friend. I pretended to believe her. 2 hours later, the hallway camera recorded Chris walking into my house. Walking in, like he owned the place. I watched the footage later that night. My jaw clenched. My fists tightened. He wasn't just stealing my wife. He was stepping into my home. My territory. My life. I saved the video. Copied it to a private drive. Labeled it Evidence 1. Next step, her car. I slipped a small GPS tracker under the bumper. Harmless. Invisible. Whenever she left, I checked the app on my phone. She wasn't going to the store. She wasn't visiting her mom. She was at Chris's apartment. over and over again. Each time, I took screenshots of the map. Dates, times, locations, all stored neatly. The third step was financial. I started combing through our bank accounts. Quietly. Laura never paid attention to numbers, that was my job. But I noticed charges that didn't add up. Restaurants across town. Hotels she never mentioned. Little gifts here and there. And every dollar came from money I earned. I printed statements. Highlighted the transactions. Slid them into a binder. Evidence too. Piece by piece, I was building a wall of truth. A wall that would crush them when it finally collapsed. But I wasn't done. I needed to know just how far they had gone. So one evening, I played dumb. I told Laura I had to work late. Instead, I parked 2 streets away from Chris's apartment. I sat in my truck, engine off, lights out. Watching. At exactly 9:30, Laura's car pulled up. She walked inside without hesitation. Like it was routine. Like it was home. I waited. Minutes turned to hours. Finally, close to midnight, the lights in his apartment flicked off. My stomach turned. I didn't need to see more. The picture was already clear. The next morning, she came home smiling. "How was work?" she asked casually, kissing me on the cheek. And I smiled back. "Busy," I said. She had no idea. That was when I realized something. I wasn't just preparing revenge. I was enjoying the hunt. Every lie she told me was another rope she wrapped around her own neck. Every careless move was another nail in Chris's coffin. Weeks went by. My binder grew thicker. Screenshots. Videos. GPS logs. Bank statements. Photos of her car parked outside his apartment. Every page was another weapon. And all the while, Laura thought she was winning. She thought I was blind. Old. Naive. But really, I was waiting. Then, fate handed me the perfect stage. Chris's birthday was coming up. He decided to throw a big party at his place. Invited old friends, co-workers, even family. Laura was buzzing with excitement. "We have to go," she said. "It'll be fun." I agreed immediately. Too quickly. She didn't notice. That night would be my battlefield. In the days leading up to the party, I made my final preparations. First, I organized the binder. Section by section. Messages. Photos. Bank records. GPS logs. Camera footage. All neatly labeled. I even added a cover page in bold letters, "The truth about Laura and Chris." Second, I made copies. One binder for me. One for backup. And a digital copy on a flash drive, just in case. Third, I arranged my delivery. Not just for the party, but for after. A little insurance. I scheduled anonymous emails. Each one containing proof. Each one set to send automatically, to Chris's co-workers, his boss, even his parents, in case I didn't return home that night. I wasn't planning on violence. No. But I wasn't going to risk my work going to waste. By the time the night of the party arrived, I was ready. When we pulled up to Chris's place, Laura was glowing. Dressed up. Hair perfect. She looked more alive than she had in years. And that alone told me everything. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just a cover. A background piece. We walked inside. Music thumping. People laughing. Chris was in the center of it all, drink in hand, smile wide. when he saw us, he clapped me on the back like nothing was wrong. Like he hadn't been sneaking around with my wife behind my back. The rage inside me burned, but I kept it buried. Not yet. We mingled. We smiled. We played the part. I talked to old friends, drank a beer, nodded at jokes I didn't care about. But my eyes never left them. The way she hovered near him. The way he touched her shoulder. The way they shared glances when they thought no one was looking. My chest was tight, but my mind was clear. This was it. The moment was coming. As the night wore on, Chris tapped a glass with a spoon. "Thanks for being here, everyone," he said. "Let's raise a toast." The crowd lifted their drinks. I lifted mine too. But I didn't drink. I waited. And then, when the room was quiet, I stepped forward. Binder in hand. "Actually," I said. My voice cut through the room. Firm. Cold. "I have something to share." Every head turned toward me. Chris frowned. Laura froze. My heart was steady. My voice clear. The trap was ready to snap shut. And neither of them had any idea what was about to hit them. The room went silent when I spoke. Dozens of faces turned toward me. Some confused. Some curious. But two faces stood out. Laura's. And Chris's. Her eyes widened. Panic. Fear. His jaw tightened. A smirk trying to hold, but failing. I held the binder in my hand. Heavy. Solid. The weight of weeks of betrayal pressed into one book. "I think this party," I said slowly, "is the perfect place to tell the truth." A ripple of whispers spread across the room. People glanced at each other, wondering what was happening. Chris stepped forward. Forced a laugh. "Dave, come on. This isn't the time." But I didn't look at him. I looked straight at Laura. "You want to tell them?" I asked her. Silence. She shook her head, lips trembling. Of course she wouldn't. So I opened the binder. The first page, a blown-up screenshot of a message. Chris's words in bold, "A last night was perfect. Can't wait for the next time." Gasps filled the room. Eyes darted between Chris and Laura. Chris stammered. "That's out of context." I flipped to the next page. More texts. Dozens of them. Little lies. Little betrayals. "Miss you already. You make me feel alive. He'll never know." Louder whispers now. Shocked voices. I turned another page. Photos. Her car parked outside his apartment. Same nights she told me she was with friends. Chris's smile was gone. His face pale. Laura's hands shook as she covered her mouth. Tears welling up. I kept going. Calm. Steady. Receipts. Hotel charges. Bank statements. Every dollar stolen from me to fund their little fantasy. And then, the video stills. From the hidden camera. Chris walking into my house. Walking past the hallway, into my living room. Like it was his home. A collective gasp. Someone muttered, "Jesus Christ." Another whispered, "In his house?" I slammed the binder shut. The sound cracked like thunder. Then I looked at Chris. "You were my best friend," I said. My voice was low. Cold. "I trusted you more than anyone. And you came into my home. You touched my wife. You betrayed me in the worst way possible." His mouth opened. No words came out. Just silence. I turned to Laura. You stood beside me for 22 years. Promised loyalty. Promised love. And this is what I get? Her tears flowed now. David, please. Her voice cracked. It was a mistake. I shook my head. No. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is burning dinner. This was a choice. Over and over again. With him. The room was heavy with silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Finally, I pulled a flash drive from my pocket. Held it up. Everything in this binder is on here too. And copies have already been sent out. So even if you try to deny it, it won't matter. Everyone will know the truth. I slipped the drive into my jacket pocket. Then I set the binder down on the table in the center of the room. Congratulations, I said. You've both destroyed everything. Enjoy each other. You deserve one another. And with that, I walked out. Behind me, voices erupted. Shouts. Questions. Accusations. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I stepped into the cool night air. Took a deep breath. And for the first time in weeks, I felt light. The fallout came fast. Chris's girlfriend, yes, he had one, dumped him on the spot. Word spread through our circle of friends like wildfire. His family heard. His co-workers heard. Everyone knew. He went from respected to despised in a matter of days. As for Laura, she tried to hold on. Tried to call me. Text me. Beg for forgiveness. But I never answered. Not once. The divorce was swift. Clean. Brutal. With all the evidence, my lawyer had no trouble. The judge didn't hesitate. I walked away with the house, the savings, the cars. She left with nothing but regret. One day, weeks later, I saw her at the grocery store. She looked smaller. Defeated. She tried to smile at me. Tried to say hello. But I walked past her like she was a stranger. Because that's what she had become. Chris? He moved away. Last I heard, he was working some dead-end job in another state. No friends. No respect. No future. Exactly what he earned. And me? I rebuilt. I spent evenings on the porch, watching the sun go down. I cooked for myself. I worked on cars in the garage, music playing in the background. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Not because I was happy. Not because life was perfect. But because I had taken back control. They thought they could destroy me. But in the end, they destroyed themselves. All I did was show the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the sharpest revenge of all.